After achieving independence from the colonial masters, the Philippines, under different administrations, continued to pursue programs in science and technology. Each leadership had its own science and technology agenda. Different presidents introduced and implemented programs, projects, and policies to boost science and technology, which the goal is to prepare the country and its people to meet the demands of a technologically driven world and capacitate the people to live in a world driven by sciences. However, it is important to note that some Philippine presidents introduced more developments in the field than others. During Ferdinand Marcos' presidency, the importance given to science grew. In the amended 1973 Philippine Constitution, Article 15, Section 9, he declared that the advancement of science and technology shall have priority in the national development. He declared that the science was necessary for the development programs and thus directed the Department of Education to revitalize the science courses in public high schools. The Department of Education, with the National Science Development Board, or NSDP, is organizing a project to provide selected high schools with science teaching equipment over a 4-year period. In his third State of the Nation address, he recognized that technology was the leading factor in economic development and channeled additional funds to support projects in applied sciences and science education. On April 6, 1968, he proclaimed 35 hectares in Bicutan, Taguig, Rizal as the site of the Philippine Science Community. The government also conducted seminars for public and private high school and college science teachers. In 1972, he created the National Grains Authority to provide for the development of the rice and corn industry, to fully harness it for the economy of the country. He established the Philippine Council for Agricultural Research to support the progressive development of agriculture, forestry, and fisheries for the nation. In 1973, he created the Philippine National Oil Company to promote industrial and economic development through effective and efficient use of energy resources. In 1979, he constituted the Health Sciences Center as an autonomous member within the University of the Philippines system to improve the internal organization. In 1986, he established the Mindanao and Visayas campuses of the Philippine Science High School to encourage careers in science and technology and to be more accessible to the talented students in the Mindanao and Visayas areas. In 1986, during Corazon Aquino's presidency, the National Science and Technology Authority was replaced by the Department of Science and Technology. Giving science and technology a representation in the cabinet. During Corazon Aquino's State of the Nation address in 1990, she said that the science and technology development shall be one of the top 3 priorities of the government towards an economic recovery. During her term, President Corazon Aquino encouraged scientists and inventors to bring the Philippines to its former position as second to only Japan in the field of science and technology. On August 8, 1988, Corazon Aquino created the Presidential Task Force for Science and Technology with the first Science and Technology Master Plan, or STMP. The goal of STMP was for the Philippines to achieve newly industrialized country status by the year 2000. One of the goals of her administration was to achieve the status as being an industrialized country by 2000. She urged that the private research sector to help jumpstart the progress in the area of Philippine research and development. The Science and Technology Master Plan was formulated, which aimed the modernization of the production sector, upgrading research activities, and development of infrastructure for science and technological purposes. Despite the abolishment of the Philippine Inventors Commission, her administration gave rise to new avenues for the government to aid the progress of science and technology in the country. There were noticeable improvements regarding science and technology, as stated in President Fidel Ramos' State of the Nation address. In his third SONA, there was a significant increase in personnel specializing in the science and technology field. At 1988, the Philippines was estimated to have around 3,000 competent scientists and engineers. Adding to the increase of scientists would be the result of the newly built Philippine Science High Schools in Visayas and Mindanao, which promotes further development of young kids through advanced science and technology curriculum. Healthcare services were promoted through local programs such as Doctors to the Barrio program. The healthcare programs were innovative and effective, as shown by the change in life expectancy. Fidel V. Ramos believes that science and technology was one of the means wherein the Philippines could attain the status of new industrialized country. In President Joseph Estrada's term, two major legislations that he signed were Philippine Clean Air Act of 1999, which was designed to protect and preserve the environment and ensure the sustainable development of its natural resources. Also, Electronic Commerce Act of 2000, which outlaws computer hackings and provide opportunities for new businesses emerging from the internet-driven new economy. Aside from this, in his first State of the Nation address, President Estrada launched a full-scale program, Cost-Effective Irrigation Technologies. Lastly, he said that they would speed up the program to establish one science high school in every province. His last State of the Nation address pushed for the advancement of industries and school into the internet age. In the Gloria Macapagal Arroyo administration, the science and technology sector of the Philippines was dubbed as the golden age of science and technology. Numerous laws and projects that concerns both the environment and the science to push technology to increase country's economic level. Moreover, the term Philippine Innovation was the coined term used in helping the Philippines to be an innovation hub in Asia. One of the more known laws to be passed by her administration was the RA 1967, or the Biofuels Act. This act promotes the development and usage of biofuels throughout the country. This potentially enables a cheaper alternative to gasoline as a medium in producing energy. President Aquino conferred 4 new national scientists for their contribution in the scientific field. Gabino C. Trono, Angel C. Alcala, Ramon C. Barbara, and Edgardo D. Gomez was honored in their respective fields. Gabino C. Trono helped a lot of families in the coastal populations through the extensive studies he made on seaweed species. On the other hand, Alcala served as the pioneer scientist and advocate of coral reefs, aside from his contribution in the fields of systematics, psychology, and herpetology. Barbara's contribution changes the seasonal supply of fresh fruits to an all-year-round availability of mangoes and micropropagation of important crop species. Lastly, Gomez steered the national scale assessment of damaged coral reefs, which led a national conservation. The administration of Rodrigo Duterte through the Philippine Space Technology Program launched the Diwata in 2018. After the launch of the Diwata 1 in 2016, that displayed the Philippine flag in space. Also, RA 11305, an act institutionalizing the Balik Scientist Program, was signed into law by the President. This law aimed to give more incentives to returning Filipino expert scientists, inventors, and engineers who would share expertise. The advancement and improvement of science and technology throughout the years have affected the building of the nation to what we know it as today. From the era of our independence, the further development of science and technology was prioritized in national development, created several divisions and departments for it brought the further development. This was made possible through the effort of this nation to grow and strive for a better life.